we didn't really want to go home from Disney. So we didn't. We went to Pop Century instead, and it was raining. Now, even though we registered on the phone, it only took us a second to show our ID and to get in, but we still had to go to the front desk. And by we, I mean Gene. I waited in the car. And we got a room for the first time that wasn't in the 50s decade. Nope, this time we're staying in the 80s with Roger Rabbit. Okay, yeah, I'm sorry about faking the whole thing, but we were actually on the other side of the building and it was raining, so this was a much better video. And I also wanted to show you what it's like in the smaller hallways when they have those linen carts out. Now you notice there's a little foyer area in front of these doors, and that's so they can park those linen carts. Unfortunately, at the handicap rooms, the doors are flat across the front, so we don't have that. And I also noticed that while my neighbor's store had 2 peepholes, mine didn't. Now, if you'll recall, when we stayed back in February in the king-size room, you didn't have very much room to maneuver when you first pulled in. Mainly because you were in a king-size room, with a king-size bed. Now notice how much more room there is to move around in the renovated room, because even though there's 2 double beds, one of the double beds doubles as a table. It's a Murphy bed. Now in the unrenovated room, the table was on the same wall with the tiny little drawers and the tiny little refrigerator with the tiny little TV. In the newly renovated room, that's all been replaced. Now you'll find a sleek set of drawers, a very large TV, a refrigerator with a glass front, and a coffee maker with no coffee. Although again, I think Disney's getting a little generic. I mean, here's the Coronado Springs newly renovated room. Look familiar? But check out the cool new pocket door. Back in the unrenovated room, there was a curtain separating an alcove with a separate sink. The toilet and the shower were in the other room. But not in the renovated room. You've got everything in one room. A real large shower with a really nice handheld shower head. Plenty of space to maneuver around, and of course you have a roll-under sink and a toilet with plenty of handrails. This is way nicer than it was in the old unrenovated rooms. Something else I really liked in the newly renovated rooms are the nightstands. I mean, look at all those connections. You can plug in your CPAP, you got USB connections, and those 2 switches, those are for the lights over the bed, so you don't have to get up out of bed to turn off the lights anymore. And speaking of the new beds, you'll see that there's plenty of room for storage underneath the bed. And my favorite part is the Murphy bed. That second double bed in the room is closed into a cabinet, and you got a table and chairs. Now, since there was just the 2 of us, we didn't really use the Murphy bed, but according to Disney, this is what it looks like when it's folded down. But we preferred having it up. It gave me plenty of room to set up the laptop computer and edit videos while I was there. Now, I did encounter one problem with the newly renovated room, and it was because my wife had to go to work, so I was there by myself. And that had to do with getting in the room. I guess when they renovated the room, they didn't change the threshold on the door, and the lip was kind of high. And with my wheels being wet on my power wheelchair, well, they just spun against the side of it. I really had to back up and kind of ram through the doorway to get inside. And if everybody's got to do this, eventually that doorknob is going to go right through that wall. Not to mention the banging around hurt my back a lot. But let's go back to talking about the good stuff. I mean, I really enjoyed staying in the 80s and having Roger Rabbit look over me. Also, the pool looked fantastic as always. But of course, there's always some sticky point, like that one. Remember back in February, that outside button didn't work on the door, and it still doesn't work on the door in August. Luckily, I had a guy hold the door open for me. I really appreciate that. And the crowds don't seem to have diminished much. Looks like we're still getting a lot of people visiting the food court. But I did notice it was a lot cleaner and a lot better stocked. And really, the crowds weren't too bad, because by the time I made it up there, most of the people had gone to the theme parks for the day. But there were still a lot of people up there. They're also trying a lot of new stuff on the menu there. Like this new hot pastrami sandwich. I gave it a try. Guys, just make a Reuben. Don't get creative with pastrami, because this one really didn't work. But the caramel apple cupcake, well, that was really great. And this is why staying at Pop Century is always fun. Their attention to detail, like in the back of Mr. and Mrs. Potato Head, where they have the space for the spare parts, just like they did on the real ones. And I really hope that staying here is always going to be like this, because it's a blast from the past. I mean, like the Duncan Yo-Yo stairwells, or Baloo, who you grew up with watching on TV, or the things you played with, or listened to, or yes, even Roger Rabbit. Some things just never change. I mean, I still haven't been to Pedal's Bar, and the arcade's still really, really, really noisy, which is cool. Oh yeah, there was one difference this time. Remember last time where we had to run in with the turkey? Well, apparently this time, it was a duck. I wonder if Disney actually covers that in custodial training. I'll tell you what, you guys go ahead and finish up the Trivial Pursuit game, and I'm just going to sit right here. Yeah, these trivia cards cover from the beginning of the 50s all the way through the 90s. But if you want to see the rest of them, you're going to have to stay at Pop Century just like we did. And I guess I might as well go home now, because I lost my seat. I hope you enjoyed this quick tour of the renovated room at Disney's Pop Century Resort. They are completely finished doing the renovations on all the rooms, so now you know what they'll look like when you stop on in. Emmy's kinda curious as whether you commented on or liked this video. And if you did like the video, why don't you go ahead and subscribe? And when you do subscribe, don't forget to click on that bell icon. That way you'll be notified the next time I upload a video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.